Hello everyone, my name is Pamela Oliveira and this is What is Happening in Brazil, a show where you get all the fun facts and latest news about our country. Here is this week's news update.
The police killed this week Adriano Nóbrega, a former police captain and militiaman who had connections with Flávio Bolsonaro, a son of the president of Brazil. Nóbrega had been at large for over a year. He was believed to be a member of a contract killing group connected to the murder of Marielle Franco, a councilwoman and human rights activist, ambushed and killed in 2018, who actively took a stand against paramilitary militia groups in Rio de Janeiro. Nóbrega's connections with the Bolsonaro family date back more than a decade. In 2005, when Flávio Bolsonaro was the state representative, he honored Nóbrega with the highest medal awarded by the Rio de Janeiro House of Representatives. That same year, the then Congressman Jair Bolsonaro defended the police captain on the floor of Brazil's lower house. At the time, Nóbrega was already accused in a murder case. Last year, news broke that Nóbrega's wife and mother were staffers at Flávio Bolsonaro's office at the Rio de Janeiro State Legislature until November 2018. Nóbrega was killed in the state of Bahia. He was hiding in the farm of a member of the PSL, the party Bolsonaro was affiliated to until late last year. The local police claim there was a shooting and Nóbrega was injured. The lawyer of the former captain, however, believes it could be a case of witness elimination. Brazil's ex-president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva met with Pope Francis at the Vatican on February 13th. The two world leaders discussed topics including the increasing global inequality, the environmental crisis, and the forging of solidarity-driven alternatives for the economy. After the meeting, Lula spoke with journalists about workers' rights and said that Pope Francis wants to leave a legacy for the world to improve the living conditions of the poor.
Everyone knows that the world is becoming increasingly unequal. Everyone knows that in most countries, workers are losing rights. Everyone knows that a lot of the victories we've had in the 20th century are being taken away by the greed of corporate and financial interests. I was very pleased to meet with Pope Francis. I think that if every human being could have the same strength, will and zest as he has at the age 84 to bring up thought-provoking issues to the discussion, we could find solutions more easily.
The meeting between the former president and the Pope was made possible by the Argentinian president Alberto Fernandes, who visited the Vatican on January 31st. Lula and Pope Francis had corresponded in the past. In May 2019, when Lula was being held as a political prisoner, Pope Francis wrote him a letter lifting his spirits and saying, quote, "Good will triumph over evil, the truth will prevail, and salvation will overcome condemnation," unquote.
Brazil maintains the unfortunate title of the world's deadliest country for trans people, according to the National Association of Travestis and Trans People. But the city of São Paulo has been echoing these shouts of trans culture for representation and respect. A play conceived and produced by trans artists is showing how theater can address political issues and be used as a tool for LGBT people to resist a brutal authoritarian scenario.
I believe in theater as a tool, a mechanism for us to be able to escape this war. And it's also a way for us to attack as well.
É uma forma de atacar também.
O fato é que eu tinha monte de poema guardado.
I had a bunch of unpublished poems, so I started to go through this process of understanding gender, understanding who I am, and I have always been a woman. And I already experimented that in my poems. I always have. Second Fall, which is the name of the play, is about this image of a second fall seen as a positive fact. The same way we take words that are used to offend us and turn those meanings around to something positive.
Ofender e reverte o sentido delas mesmo, né?
I'm in charge of the soundtrack of the play. I think that the play is a necessary shout amid this whole mess that has been going on. There are so many people shouting, and this may be the most important shout. After all, we live in a country where our community is downtrodden. Art is the most powerful weapon we can use against violence, to humanize our bodies and create a new context for our existence in common spaces.
Contexto para nossa existência nos lugares comuns.
Eu acho que a partir desse momento a gente
I think that, from this point, we give back everything that the world gave us, using a different language. Right now, I think we are echoing the voices of many people who are not heard, and we are not being arrogant to think we are speaking for all of them. But at some point, at least some of them are being able to speak up.
pelo menos algumas estão conseguindo falar.
I'm just relishing this joy. It's so beautiful to see this theater full of trans people, full of bodies like mine, full of sisters and brothers, seeing so much realness, so much effervescence, and so much resistance all at once in one venue.
In Maceió, the capital city of the northeastern state of Alagoas, 4 communities are slowly sinking to the ground. 17,000 people who live in 4,500 houses will have to be removed, and the mining company Braskem is being held accountable for the subsidence. An agreement signed with the Federal Public Prosecution Service established that the miner will have to pay 1.7 billion reais, roughly $425 million, to remove all families affected. Some areas are already desert as local residents were forced to leave their homes.
I'm feeling agitated. I can't sleep. I'm taking pills. I'm afraid I could go to sleep and never wake up. I don't know what could happen.
When this sinkhole starts to swallow houses, cars, buildings, and all that, people won't have the chance to run. A terrible gas will start to come out of it. Picture yourself pouring bleach in a bowl and tossing ants inside of it. That's what will happen to the people.
Veja se ela consegue escapar, sim, vai ser o povo. Com mais propriedade, né, na superfície.
This criminal thing has been going on for 44 years, but that became more apparent on the surface as of February 15, 2018, after it rained heavily here. The pouring rain opened sinkholes, and house walls started to crack. That's when Braskem's operations were brought up as the potential source of the problem. Then, on March 3rd, there was an earth tremor, and that's when the cracks became much more serious.
As rachaduras se evidenciaram com muito mais significância. E ainda hoje nega.
Braskem's operations were irresponsible and criminal because the company extracted rock salt in urban areas, where there is a geological fault. But even now, it denies blame. Even after it signed an agreement with authorities without discussing it with local leaders and local residents, the company still claims it's not to blame. I don't know what will come out of this. Brazilian justice must be faster, courts must be fast in holding Braskem liable because the Brazilian people must know about this. And what we do know is that the community is sinking, the neighborhoods are sinking, 53,000 people are being affected, but they are not saying why. They believe there is something to do with the local geological structure. Well, yes, but that's man-made. It's the result of salt mining activities here in this area.
Now it's time for Brazilianism.
So, we are making a simple cachaça and lime cocktail. What are we going to use? White cachaça, it has to be clean with no residue and it can't be watered down. We will also use Persian lime juice and molasses. Get your cocktail shaker, good quality ice cubes, 60 milliliters of cachaça, 30 milliliters of Persian lime, and 20 milliliters of molasses. Shake it up for about 10 seconds. Get a frosted glass, a large ice cube, and add 3 drops of saline solution. This saline solution is 15 grams of salt with 100 milliliters of water. Let's see if it's good. It's really good.
That's it for now, everyone. We'll be back next week. I see you then.